So, Max, taking a look at what we know so far, what do you think Affirm has over what Apple plans to offer?
So from what I know, at least, neither Goldman nor Apple have said anything about their collaboration to be. So I can't really compare. I can tell you exactly what Affirm is, because I think it really matters to understand the difference. We're not a wallet, which is what I think a lot of the competition or would-be competition is. We're in the business of turning browsers into buyers, which is fundamentally a merchant service. If you look at the merchants that we have from Target to Walmart, from Neiman Marcus to Williams Sonoma, so the network is vast at this point. We are in the business of bringing them new customers, increasing the cart size, increasing conversion at the point of sale, basically enabling our merchants to grow without discounting. And that is a very complex set of technology and partnerships that are very deep and exist from the front page to the product details page to the checkout. So that is a significant amount of stuff that we have built and have specialized in and have become a leader in. So I think we're in a somewhat different business than just about anybody else. And we've been very, very strong and have built quite a moat in the last 10 years.
You certainly have many existing merchant deals that Apple doesn't have yet. But given that Apple service will likely, as we understand it, integrate very seamlessly into the iPhone, just like Apple Pay does today, what advantage does Affirm have then? And does that concern you?
So it is both about reach, which, obviously Apple is a giant company and they have an incredible number of customers, but it's also about underwriting and depth of understanding of your customer. The thing that we've learned in the last 10 years isn't just how to get very large. Obviously, we cover the world's largest retailer and many, many partners. Shopify, we power Shopify Installments, which is a gargantuan ecosystem of consumers and merchants. So we also have scale, and I'd like to believe we integrate very, very seamlessly at this point. The one thing that we do have that no one does is we have a decade of underwriting consumers through good times, through the COVID shock, through the post-08 recovery, and that kind of learning you can't speed up. It is only doable through time. You have to lend money and watch consumers pay back and learn how to underwrite people that are not in any system, young consumers that opted out of the credit card world, people who are not in credit bureau data sets. And so that is something that is unique to us. And I don't think you can just sort of turn that on and compete with. And so in that sense, I think we have an enormous advantage. And frankly, that's how we've beaten back the competitors from the traditional banking world time and time again. Every time we are pitted against a traditional bank, it turns out that we are just much better at underwriting and have a significantly better understanding of the consumer.
Now, obviously, it's a big enough market, and you identified it years ago, a big enough market that Apple wants to chase it too. How much growth do you see in the buy now, pay later market? And is it all a good thing if consumers are taking on more debt in this way?
Obviously, that our mission is super important to us. We're fundamentally built around this notion of responsible spending, responsible borrowing. We don't charge any kind of fees, not even late fees, specifically to fully align ourselves with the consumer. And so I think creating opportunities for consumers to buy that makes them feel safe and smart and responsible is a good thing. Pushing them to overspend is a bad thing. And we are very, very directional on both those fronts. And so there's a tremendous amount of growth. I think last time I looked, there's only maybe 2 or 3% of the US overall spending is in buy now, pay later, depending on sort of what you consider the denominator. But there's an incredible amount of growth, and the demand for this kind of product, especially among Gen X, Gen Z, millennial, is seemingly unstoppable. So it's no surprise that the competition is vast. But I do think that there's a lot to do to bring the education and the responsibility front and center to the end consumer, just as convenience and access to capital, access to credit should be there as well.
Okay. Now, you told me earlier this year that you thought consumer spending would be booming this summer, like every weekend would be like Thanksgiving weekend. We have just about a minute left. Quickly, what spending patterns are you actually seeing? How much are they buying? What are they buying?
I thought you'd like some stats, so this time I came prepared. So July 4th, this is actually a great sample. So I looked at our numbers. So typically September and October are peak ticketing months travel loan volume for us, July 4th weekend was almost 500%, 450% year-on-year growth. Spending on home rentals, hotels, up 250% year-on-year. People are basically running out of their lockdowns and going to travel, staying in rentals, going to hotels. Apparel is up 90% year-on-year for the July 4th weekend. Jewelry is up 60% year-on-year. So all of these metrics are essentially people are trying to look good. People are trying to travel. People are trying to get out of town. They've been really sick and tired of lockdown. So I stand by the claim that Thanksgiving in July and continuing.